This podcast is made possible through donations from listeners like you and our partners at Tallman Equipment, where they pride themselves on equipping their customers with the tools they need to get the job done right. They are dedicated to set the standard for quality, convenience, and reliability. At Tallman, your opinion is important to them. Rate and review any product or tool you've used on their new website at tallmanequipment.com. Line 11 Clothing Company, making apparel for our first responders with a positive message to patriots that you can be proud of. A proceed of the cost goes to helping our foundation ignite the fire for father engagement. Give them a follow at Line 11 Clothing on Instagram. And last but not least, Monzingo Knives. Each knife is created with craftsmanship that only a tradesman could provide. Find them on Instagram at Monzingo Knives and get your American-made Monzingo knife today.
Welcome to the Show Up Dad podcast. This has been created for hardworking fathers. At the Show Up Dad, we recognize that fathers providing for their children is certainly important. But when men truly understand their unique role and gain the knowledge and skills to be great fathers, they can transform and impact future generations. I'd like to give a warm welcome to Ruben Rodriguez. Ruben joined the IBEW March of 2012 and has 5 beautiful children: Sky, 18, Mariah, 16, and Isabella, 14, from his first marriage. And Ruben also has 2 strapping young boys, little Ruben, 7, and Richard, 5, from his second marriage. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me on the show, homie. Appreciate that.
Absolutely, bro. I've been trying to get you on this podcast for quite some time. You're one of those guys that when you run across, you have a tremendous amount of impact, and you've always had a lot of impact on me, Ruben. I appreciate you, and you're like a brother to me, dude. So I thank you for coming on here for sure.
I appreciate the words. No problem, man. I know it's been a while. You've been trying to get me on here. You know me, I'm more of a private person, but I'm glad to be here, and I appreciate you having me on the show.
Absolutely, brother. Well, let's go ahead and open up by you telling us a little bit about your childhood, if you can share that with us.
My childhood was pretty good. I came from a middle-class family. You know, both my parents worked. My dad was a real hard worker. He was a glazer for about 20 years, and then he did tile after that. My mom actually sold real estate for a number of years. So it was a lot of fun growing up. My dad was super active with us too. Very healthy individual. We'd get up at 4 a.m. and I have to go run with him. And it was a good time, man. Like my dad grew up boxing. We all did. That's our family thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered we get up at 4 a.m. Here we go. There's me and my dad running around the block with my hands in the air. And as soon as my elbows drop, hey, pick them back up.
Damn.
But yeah, pick them back up. But it was all good though, because he didn't just tell me, he was there doing it with me. So it was all good. Good times. But me and my older brother, Ricky, I mean, we had a lot of fun. We were only 2 years apart, and we'd get up, and we were those kids that were always outside, riding our skateboards, riding our bikes, all over Banning. That's where I grew up, right? So it's always a ton of fun. It's like ride our skateboards to the local pool during the summertime. And just, we had a lot of fun, a lot of friends growing up, and just, we were legit boys, outside doing our thing.
Man, Banning, is that a pretty decent area, or is it kind of rough? Or
you know what, I don't think much of it. I mean, it's just all on, like, people think of it as like kind of a bad area, right? Mm-hmm. But to me, that's where I grew up. That's home. So yeah, I didn't know any better. It is what it is. But things do happen, but it's all about how you carry yourself and the people that you're around. Even if you're around certain individuals, it's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. Everything's always about respect. And, if you want to disrespect people and treat people bad, you're going to get that karma on you. So it's really up to you and how you carry yourself as a man.
Mm-hmm. And it's good to see that your father mimicked that. He showed you what it was to be a man. You know what I mean? Just from waking you up and having you have that self-discipline to being right alongside you guys and just telling you, hey, man, pick your hands up, man, cover your face, protect yourselves. You know what I mean? Right. That's really awesome to see.
Yeah, my dad was super active. He'd ride bikes with us. He did it all with us. I mean, camping, he was my coach for Little League. Mm-hmm. But my dad was real healthy too. So he was always that way. And that's kind of always been his thing.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever go with your father to go to work or anything like that when he would be doing his blue collar job?
Oh yeah, and at the house, man, we were cutting our grass at single digit ages, trimming the hedges and doing all that. If my dad was out there working, believe me, homie, we better be out there too. uh, we'd be inside playing a game or something, and he'd go like, "What are you guys doing here?" Well, you didn't tell us anything. He'd be like, "I shouldn't have to tell you." We're like, "All right, we better get out there," you know.
It's
But yeah,
crazy. It's crazy how you say that, because nowadays kids don't even want to go outside. I mean, for us, if we had to stay inside, that was a punishment. You know what I mean? Like, it was
right.
crazy, and it's changed a lot. The way everything's changed with this new generation and stuff like that. It's like, no, we don't want to go outside. It's like, the heck's wrong with you? Get outside.
Those are the best times, you know. And everybody, you know, all these kids, they're all into their video games too much and their telephones and things like that, and they're missing out on a lot outside. You know, just having that creativity, being a little kid, making little toys or weapons or whatever you're doing as a kid. You know,
Mhm.
clubhouses, the whole 9 yards. So they're missing out. But I think everybody's so like wrapped up in like kidnappers and things like that too, that I get it. You know, it's all out there. So, and you want to protect your kids as well. But to answer
Mhm.
your question earlier, it's like, I definitely went to work with my dad, dude. Junior high,
Mhm.
summertime, we would go and he didn't make us. We wanted to, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
That was one of the things that was always really good about my dad. Like, he never forced us to do anything. But I think it was really neat that he always like walked his talk, right? I'd always see my dad hitting the heavy bag, hitting the speed bag. And I remember being a little kid, man, and I used to get like cinder blocks
Mhm.
and I used to cross them so I could stand on them because I couldn't reach the speed bag just so
Mhm.
I could hit it. Because I thought it was the neatest shit. Like just seeing him like hit it and, you know, just it was cool and it interested me. So that's going to be me. You know, that's
Right.
how I see it. If I see somebody excel, it's like, all right, that man did it. I could do it too.
Mhm.
So that's just my thought process. And junior high, like you said, he would take us to work with him and we would just help him out. We'd have lunch, have a good time, run our route, do our thing. And me and my brother, we'd mess around and we'd cut mirrors out, things like that. And we had a good time. We had fun, good memories, you know?
Mhm. Absolutely. Your dad sounded like he was pretty intact. He was pretty intentional with all his movements and stuff like that. How did he interact with your mom? Because I know that's a big thing, bro. Is, because as a son, we have this special bond with our moms, right? We love our moms,
Absolutely.
and the same thing with our daughters. Our daughters, and I'm sure you could see that with your daughters. I mean, they have that bond with the father that can't be replaced, right?
Absolutely.
So how did your father interact with your mother? You know what I mean? And how did that affect you? Was it a positive thing? Like, did that teach you a lot about respecting women and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have
Mhm.
their arguments just like any other couple, but
Mhm.
nothing out of control, nothing too crazy. I mean, it was always respect. My
Mhm.
mom was the type of mom that always made dinner every night. And you know, she's Mexican, right? But
Mhm.
she didn't always cook Mexican food. I mean, she would do homemade Alfredo sauces. She was very diverse in what she made. So we got a ton of different types of food, different styles. I like to cook. A lot of that is because of my mom. And my dad's a really good cook too. So
Mhm.
it was good. My dad was very positive to her. They're still married. They've been married since 1980. So
Wow.
yeah, they've been together forever.
Man, that's so good to see too. Because I mean, I don't know how many people are divorced now. I mean, it seems like, man, someone sneezes and they're getting a divorce. You know what I mean? It's crazy. You know what I mean? It's just it's crazy the way that happens.
No,
Um,
I agree, and I'm part of all that, you know. But you know, and I never expected any of that. But that's just life, and that's just how it goes.
right, right. And the deal is to grow from it, right?
Absolutely, without change, you can't be better. And you know, when I was younger, I was a little bit more hot headed, you know, and I always felt like if I'm on the right, I'm on the right, and that's
Mhm.
it. There's no other way. But now that I'm older, I realize there's other right ways to do things without dealing with the consequences that
Mhm.
come with something negative, you know?
Yeah.
So
Man, Ruben, I wanted to talk to you, man. I thank you for sharing about your family and just opening up with that. You know what I mean? That gives us a background about you, especially to our audience.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
How did you come across the line trade, brother? I've never asked you that.
You know what? It's funny that you bring that up. One of my homeboys, he was an apprentice for Southern California Edison.
Mm-hmm.
My boy Raymond, right? He's now a system operator out of the Deaver substation. But we were at our 10-year reunion, and we were kicking back. And at the time, I was way healthy, working out a ton, super healthy, and I was really into rock climbing with my cousins, Richard and Lonnie, which were super active in it. And he goes, "Look, homies, so like you rock climb, you do this, you do that." And he goes, "What do you think about getting to this trade? I'm an apprentice doing this. You can't get in as a meter maid anymore because they're not doing that anymore." But I ran to somebody and said he went to a lineman college. And I go, "Look, just send me a text of one of these colleges and I'll do everything else myself." And the next day he shot me a text and said East LA Skills Center. And I just told him thank you. And ever since then, I got online, I did my research. I actually went to Los Angeles Trade Tech for climbing school back in fall of 2011. Mm-hmm. And man, I was hearing all kinds of different information. One lady would tell me one thing, another lady would tell me another thing. I finally just went over there and just went to get all the information myself, became a student, and I was lucky enough to get in. And any opportunity that I've ever had in this trade, it's always been like, "Hey, you want to do this?" And I just go, "Yeah, let's do it." And that's just how I've done. And so far it's been successful for me.
Mm-hmm. It seems like, and just, all the years and stuff that I've known you, you've always been that way. You've always been like, "Hey, well, let's do it. Let's do it." It's that confidence. And I contribute that to the confidence that was given to you at home by your father. You know what I mean? He helped build you up instead of break you down.
I agree. I definitely agree.
And I think that's helped you out tremendously because, like I said, dude, every single time, "Let's do it, Dave. Let's do this." And I'm like,
"Oh, come on."
I'm like, "No, I don't want to do that."
I mean, the way I see it, man, like anything that you have that's a challenge in life, right? Mm-hmm. You just go out and do it. And then you realize once it's done, you know what? It really wasn't that bad. And even if it was, you did it, right? Mm-hmm. And like I said before, if one man could do it, I know I can. So that's just how I see things. And you have that sense of accomplishment afterwards. And then next time you do it, you just have all the more experience to make yourself better or faster.
No, I agree with you 100%, brother. I know you traveled a lot in the apprenticeship. That's where I met you. I met you in Texas.
Yeah. Texas.
Good old El Paso, Texas,
man.
So with that being said, brother, I know you've had some difficulties that you have to overcome as an apprentice in the trade. Can you elaborate on that? Like, what are some of the things that you remember that you're like, "Dude, this sucked"? You know what I mean?
It's just one of those things. As an apprentice, we all go through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're always unloading all the pole piles, all the pieces, or you're responsible for everything on the truck. And I just remember I used to keep a little notepad and I used to just write stuff down on it because I'd forget everything, Mm-hmm. So I used to just write everything down. And, I had to make sure I had all my bolts, my material stocked up, everything ready for the next day's job. And it's just part of it. It's part of the program, but it just makes you better as a lineman. So you have everything you need. I go up in the bucket. I use the hand line, of course, right? But
yeah,
I got everything I need. Like I'm not asking people for much, if anything at all. But as an apprentice, I remember because I did my apprenticeship at a 769. I remember just being downtown Phoenix. It was the middle of summer. It's about 125, 126 out. We're in an alley. It's all asphalt, block walls, both sides. And we had like a pole change out. We were reconducting some triplex through this alley. Mm-hmm. And it was a bunch of service drops to homes and like little apartment buildings and stuff. And of course, I'm the apprentice, so I'm jumping over fences, setting up the ladder, making up the services at the weatherheads, running back and forth here and there and everywhere. Dude, and my feet were burning, homie. It was so hot out there, and there was no breeze, no nothing. I couldn't drink enough water. I couldn't drink enough Pedialyte or whatever I had going on, dude. But that's just part of it. You just it's one of those trades, and it's not for everybody, you know, but if you have the heart, you have the willpower to do it, then man, then more power to you, you know, and you got to love this, you know, it's a great trade. It's the best thing that's happened to me. And I know a lot of other people too.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you 100%. It is a great trade. And once again, I agree. It's not for everybody. What do you think about how more and more people are getting involved? You know, they're wanting to become linemen. It's almost like linemen nowadays are becoming more well known, right? With these storms and everything like that, and all the you see it on Instagram with the helicopter work, you know, working off the skid and stuff like that. Now everybody's like, oh man, that's cool. I want to do that. I want to do that, you know. And now you got every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and women too, which is awesome. I
Right.
think, you know what I mean, coming to our industry, but it's not for everybody.
You're absolutely 100% right. We're getting a lot of attention, like on Instagram and stuff like that. Because I mean, you know, I post a lot of stuff on my stories as well. I don't put too much on my like my main page or whatnot, but on my stories, I stay pretty active, and you know, it's cool, right? And I'm always out to help anybody. I have family members that I've helped, friends of friends, anybody who's interested and has the love for it. Then you know, I'll bring my tools home and I'll take them out climbing. I've done it multiple times, and it's not a big deal, like because I love it that much. But I'm gonna tell you, out of everybody that I've taken out climbing and whatnot, nobody's ever gotten into the trade. Not one person. And you know, because I'll go up there and I'll show them, I'll explain to them how to climb or whatnot, and I'll show them. They go to do it, and they're like, "Man, you make it look easy." That's all it is, you know. You just gotta, you know, this is how you do it. And they're not moving, or they get up there, their legs are trembling, and you know, it's just one of those things. But you have to try if that's what you really want, and you got to be able to overcome anything that comes your way. Because I don't know how many times I've done things that I felt were sketchy, and then I did them, and I was like, "Oh, it's not that bad," you know.
Right. Especially working with me.
Oh yeah, we had some good time. We had some really good times. We did a lot of switches, you know.
Yep,
for sure.
The funny part is like you know, I used to trip out because I'd tell you, I'd be like, "Oh, take me to my truck. I'm gonna load up my car. I'm gonna take my tools."
Yeah.
And you would be loading your tools too, and I'd be like, "What are you doing? Where are you going? You got to be back here on Monday." You know what I mean? And you'd be like, "No, dog. I'm gonna take my tools. I'm gonna go climb on the weekend." I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah.
And I think to myself, I was like, "Man, this guy is squared away. He's really passionate about this trade." And you know, it was good to see. You know, I'd always kind of just keep that in the back of my head because I was like, man, this guy's really fired up about it. He's probably the only dude I know on the weekend who's out there freaking getting on a pole, finding a bare pole, you know, and just getting after it, you know.
It's what you put into it. It's your apprenticeship at the end of the day, and you're gonna get what you put into it. You know, if you want to be a minimalist, you know, just because you know how it is. There's lead linemen, there's good linemen, and then there's linemen that are just getting by, you know. So I mean, you don't want to be one of those guys, you know. So I mean, everything's necessary though, right? We need our lead linemen, and just because somebody may not need to be a lead lineman doesn't mean that they're not a really good lineman, you know. So I mean, everything's necessary, but yeah, you definitely don't want to be that guy that's getting bounced around from crew to crew, and you know, you got to put your part in. It's not that hard, you know. We work every pole from, you know, from the bottom up and then from the top down. I keep everything simple. What I'm working on is what I'm working on at that moment. I don't even care about the next day's job, dude, to be honest with you. Why am I going to worry about that when I got today's job to go do, you know? So that's just how I see it. I keep everything simple, man. And before you know it, you're like, damn, I just did this pole with all this shit all on it, you know? And it's done. It's not a big deal.
No, it's good. I like the way you said that, how you put it in that perspective where, you know, when I'm on this pole, I'm on this pole, you know, and it's easy to get overwhelmed, not just on line work, but in life in general. You know, one of the things we say at the Show Up Dad is be where your feet are. And that goes with our kids. You know what I mean? Don't be worried about all the unnecessary white noise that's out there. You know, stay focused where you're at. You know, if you're with your kids, be with your kids, have fun with them, spend those moments with them. I know we can't always be there with them. I know like for you, for instance, you're going on storm, you know what I mean? Tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow. We got called out, and I'll show up at 6 in the morning, and then we're gonna take off to go work in Lake Tahoe. And I don't know when we'll be back. I'm hearing it could be up to 3 weeks, but
Mhm.
it's gonna be nonstop, running
Yeah.
and gun, doing our thing, in the middle of single degree weather, storms, whatever. But it's what we do. It's what we signed up for. So I'm all about it.
Yeah, that's awesome, brother. I really appreciate you coming on here, you know what I mean, and just being able to fit me in your schedule, dude. You
Oh, no
know.
problem, man. Anytime. Not a big
Oh,
deal.
but I want to transition to this our topic that I want to talk about. I think right now more than ever, as parents, one of the big things we can teach our children is how to handle change, and the way we handle change in our lives, they're going to see that. And that's going to be more important to them than us just telling them, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, right? If they
Right.
see how we react and we respond, it's going to be so much more beneficial for them. So that's why I wanted to call you on here, because obviously, Ruben, you've had a lot of change in your life, brother, and you're still going through some
Right.
changes. I've seen you go from a young man now to a more seasoned guy to a journeyman. And, I have the utmost respect for you, dude. And I think that you coming on here and kind of just talking about us, and how you handle change and how you navigate your emotions towards that change is going to be able to impact a lot of people out there.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, change is necessary. I mean, if you want to grow to your full potential as a person, as an individual
Mm-hmm.
in this world, I mean, you have to have change in your life. You can't be scared of it. And once you do make that change, you grow to somebody who's much better. And I really believe that anything that's ever happened in this trade that, and I sacrificed a lot, like I said, I joined the union 2012 in March, and my first job was in West Texas, little city called Snyder, middle of nowhere. Middle of nowhere, homie. And it was working for Henkel's McCoy. We were on a 345 line, and it was a big job, but I missed out on a lot with my kids being away, and but I felt like it was necessary to give them a better life. So that's what I chose.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't mean that I wasn't a part of their life, because I try to keep good communication, but it's not really the same, but I'm thankful for FaceTime and things like that, because it just came out during that time. So, but without that change, I wouldn't be where I'm at today and wouldn't be able to provide for them and give them the life they live now. My oldest daughter's in college now, and me and her mother help pay for her college. I mean, she really doesn't have any bills, but she's like, I tell her, so just because you don't have any bills, and she is still working, she works fast food raising canes, that's her thing. And she wants her own money, and I could appreciate that. But at the same time, I tell her, I said, your job is your education. So my goal is for you to just focus on that. And don't think just because I'm paying for your college and I get you this and I get you that you didn't earn it, because you've always done well in school. You continue to do well. Now, if you were messing up, that'd be one different thing, but you're doing it. So I'm doing my part to help you succeed, and so you could get that good paying job, so you could buy your own house, so you could have your own cars. But for right now, I got this for right now, and you take care of what you're supposed to be taking care of as you've been, and everything's good. So don't think that I'm giving you anything, because you've earned it.
And it's awesome to see that she trusts you. I mean, that's a big, big aspect of the father-daughter relationship or father-son relationship, is they got to be able to trust you. And obviously she trusts you, and that's amazing, bro. That's such a good feeling to see, or even hear your story, to know that your daughter can trust you. Like, and I just want to touch base on this real quick while we're on this subject. My daughter came up to me, some little boy asked her out. My daughter's 15. She came and showed me the text, you know what I mean, that he asked her out, and she asked me what I thought. And that's just a testament to her having that trust with me, and knowing that, hey, I can go to my dad with anything. Because before, I didn't have that, bro. She didn't even talk to me. Nothing. You know what I mean? You know my story, brother.
Right.
So it's an amazing feeling when we gain their hearts. And they're able
Absolutely.
to come to us and just lay it out there and be like, hey, Dad, what do you think? Do you think this guy's a good dad? What do you think? And I'm like, or not a good dad, a good guy. And I'm like, I don't know. How does he act around you? You know, do I need to choke him out or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
No,
you know,
I hear you completely. And, you know, one of the things is because, you know, I came from the Redlands yard and I'm out in Menifee right now. And it's been really nice because my daughters are out there. So sometimes I'll be off early enough to where I could go pick them up. We'll go have dinner and just hang out and spend a little bit more extra time. And, you know, me and my oldest daughter were having dinner. It's probably about 3 weeks ago or so. And then we talk about those things just like what you're talking about with her boyfriend and stuff. And she's not with him anymore. And I'm just like, that's great.
You're like, yes.
You know, it's for a good reason, you know, and I always told her since she was a little girl, you know, you're a smart girl and you make smart decisions, and it seemed to hold up pretty well. And I do that to all my daughters. I want to say that it's some certain effect. It's actually scientific study to where you say certain things like that and it actually becomes like a reality. And I didn't even notice it. I was just there are smart girls and you do make smart decisions, and then come to find out, you know, they really are doing it, and it's nothing to take away from them because they're the ones walking their own path. And I tell them, you're doing it. I have this one daughter, right? So there's Mariah, that's my middle daughter, and she's super great at numbers, math, and everything. AP calculus, she's doing really well, right? So my younger daughter, Isabel, right? She's just walked in right now and just gave me that look real quick. I was talking about her. But yeah, so she actually got an award in her school for being the top in math for the 8th grade. And Mariah's super confident. She's like, you're welcome. And I looked at her like, what do you mean? And she goes, well, thanks to me. I'm the one who helped her out with all her work. You know, thanks to me is the only reason why she got it. So that's partially my award. And I go, Mariah, like, yeah, you helped her, but your sisters, you guys stick together. What you may not be good at, your sister may be good at. But as a unit, you guys are strong. So don't forget that. And at the end of the day, your sister's the one who did the work, not you. You may have showed her formulas or whatnot or how to do work, but she's the one still doing that. So you can't take that away from her, you know? And then she just looked like, yeah, it's still half mine.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, they're characters.
It's crazy how they're always striving for our affirmation, huh?
It's pretty neat, man. Kids are awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that with even say like with my 2 boys, right?
Yeah,
I'll give one of them a attaboy. Next thing you know, everybody wants an attaboy just like that. You know what I mean? Like Dakota, why help them do this? And my little bro, you know, the baby will be like, well, Daddy, I was brave, so I was there. And it's like everybody wants an attaboy or an attagirl, you know, and it's just like they just want that affirmation from their father.
Yes.
You know, and
yes, they do.
And it's good to see that you talked about that, about how speaking life, you know, you talked about how you kept saying you guys are smart and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And
yeah, absolutely.
That's speaking life into them, you know what I mean? And that's important. As fathers, we need to speak that life into them so they can know that they're wanted and needed and cared for and loved, you know what I mean? That's one of the things I never really got as a child. I never was told attaboy or nothing like that. It was just like,
right,
you didn't get your butt kicked, so that was a good thing, you know. You must have did something right, you know what I mean?
You know, to be honest with you, you know, kids, in my opinion, don't really need much. It doesn't matter if you have the most or if you have the least in life, because I treat everybody with respect, right? I don't care if you have nothing or if you have a whole lot. If you're a good person, then you're a good person, and you're going to get that mutual respect coming to you. Now, if you're disrespectful, that's something different, right?
Yeah.
And I know good and bad on both sides of the fence. People that have a lot and they're just not good people.
Yep.
But I know people that have nothing and they're the best, you know, and people that have nothing, they're just scandalous. But that's just how it goes. So I treat everybody equal. I don't care about any of that. You know, that's just not me. And especially with my 2 sons, you know, I give one of them a hug. The other one's jumping on me to get another hug. So you're 100% correct on that. 100%. It's just, but it's amazing though. These kids they're just great. And I was saying though before was as a parent, whether you have a lot or nothing, all a kid needs, in my opinion, is just genuine, real love. You know, and every parent says they love their kids, but if you really make them feel that love, I mean, it's pretty hard to screw up as a parent. That's
Yeah.
it. That's all they need, dude. And they come out pretty successful just with that. Just being genuine with them, and just showing them real, genuine love. That's it. It's that simple.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the big things is, as people, we tend to think that it's a lot harder. And we were never given a blueprint on how to be a father and stuff like that. So I think we make it a lot harder, and then we're hard on ourselves as well as fathers. You know what I mean? Like when we make a mistake, whatever, you know, I know a lot of guys out there like, man, I screwed up again, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, dust yourself off, learn from your mistake. Kids are very resilient. You know what I mean? And make those adjustments, you know, and one of the guests I had on earlier today, he's another lineman. He talked about how he likes to incorporate his children into everything that's going on. He doesn't like any kind of anything hidden from his kids. He doesn't hide anything from his kids. You know what I mean? According to it being age appropriate, right?
Right.
But he likes to not have an elephant in the room. He likes to talk about it. He doesn't like to sweep any kind of dark secrets underneath the rug. He says that's setting him up for failure, is what he said. You know, and in his life, that happened with him and his mom. They didn't even know his mom was sick. And they just kind of hit it. The dad and the mom just kind of hit it. And they grew up thinking, you know, mama doesn't like us. You know, what's wrong with mom? Why does she act the way she was? She was she was addicted to opiates.
Right.
And they never knew that until he grew up. So the whole entire time he grew up and his siblings grew up thinking that mom couldn't stand them. And it was just because she was having this need that she needed to be taken care of with the opiates, you know, because she had an addiction issue, you know.
Right.
So he's very adamant now in telling his kids that, hey, this is what's going on, you know, and I think that's pretty important, you know.
No, I get it. And it sounds like it was something that really affected his life tremendously. And for whatever reason, he wasn't able to recognize that in his mother, you know. So I was a pretty curious kid, so I was always looking around figuring things out, you know. We were gone, man, all the time. Me and my brother we were always together. We were always out and about, and it wasn't always for the best, but I have a lot of good memories with them, and we've done a lot of good things together.
Ruben, I wanted to ask you, brother, how do you know when it's time to make a change, dude? Like when it's time to cut your losses and move on?
When it's time to cut my losses and move on, you just feel it. I for me at least, you know, I just feel it, right? Say I'm somewhere and I'm just like, all right, well, off to the next, you know, not a big deal. So then I'll ask for a term slip and keep it moving. And that goes for personal life, everything, right? You have to, you know, because you know my story, right? I've been single for about 2 years, you know, going through the divorce and all that stuff. And you just have to just be real with yourself, like as an individual, right? Because, you know, just going through the life that I've been through, I'm not trying to play any games with anybody or do any of that. I have to be myself and I have to be happy, right? And that other individual has to be happy and they have to be themselves. I don't want to be with somebody that's adjusting themselves just to make me happy, because that's fraudulent, right?
Yeah.
You just be you and I'm just me. And in turn, if we're both happy, then we're going to make each other happy. And I just haven't found that person yet, but I'm in no rush. I am taking my time and I'm not settling for anything, man. And that's just where I'm at. And that's goes along with the change, right? If it isn't right, it isn't right. And you just got to keep it moving and move forward. And if you need that change, you just feel it. And it's just like, you just got to go with your gut and just move on it. And then you just grow into something so much better. You just keep adapting, building yourself as an individual and just become stronger and more resilient and just a so much better person.
And I think anything that's rushed is not right. That's one of the things that I've noticed about situations that I'm going to come into or whatever, you know what I mean? That helps me make a lot of the decisions I make. Is if it feels rushed, dude, and I'm not comfortable with it, it's not right. You know what I mean?
I agree. And the same thing is rushing decisions for opportunities as well,
Yep.
other than like with the trade. And it's more so like, I forgot what it was. It was, I want to say my daughter had like a opportunity for some job or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she had told him that she was already going to take another job elsewhere or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, that's good and everything because your mind was set and you wanted to do, but you got to understand it's an opportunity. And just instead of taking it or declining it right away, just
Mhm.
ask them like, hey, you know what? I really appreciate you considering me for this position. Can you give me till tomorrow to think about this, and I'll call you tomorrow with my decision?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not, a lot of those times those things come to you pretty rapid, and a lot of people aren't sitting there really thinking about, is that what they want to do or what they don't want to do? So it's good for those kinds of things to just take a day and just like really think about if that's what you want to do. But there's also times, like I said, in the trade, and a lot of the reason why I've done well is because people would come to me and be like, hey, you ready to do this? I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like, whether I was nervous or not, or whatever the case was, I'm going to find out today and we're going to do it. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just, you got to know how to choose those different battles. Right. And just move on it and just grow as an individual.
How have you shown your children? I mean, like I said, you've had a lot of change to the divorces and stuff like that.
Right.
How are you able to show your kids how to handle change? Because that's a change, dude. I mean, it was a change for them. How are you able to navigate and help them to deal with change as well?
I'm just showing them love. No changes in this life. It's all, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, just because, it didn't work out with mom doesn't mean anything changed with us. I still love them. Everything's still good. They have their own space. We
Mm-hmm.
spend our time together and we do our thing. So just making them feel comfortable. And I think a lot of it too is just me not having negative to say about mom. I could sit there and I could do that and but it's not going to help them, because at the end of the day, the way I see it, regardless on everything that I'm dealing with their mother, they still love their mom, right?
Yep.
They still love their mom, and I get it. And later on in life, they can figure that out on their own. Or if they have questions, I won't have a problem talking to them about it.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, you get one mom, you get one dad, and at the end of the day, they just want to see us get along.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have, to them, nothing negative to say about her. Most parents in my situation are like that.
Yeah.
But and she's like that with me, which is okay, because that's just her. That's her own self.
Mm-hmm.
That's her own character. But she's not going to put me in a situation where it changes my character as a man and how I do and the respect that I carry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, she could be that person. I'm still going to be me. And at the end of the day, the kids feel that, they don't need any of that.
Mm-hmm. And it's good to show them. I liked what you said, that you show them love and you show them acceptance, because at that time, their kids are really weird in the way they deal with situations. They tend to take it upon themselves and say, I must have not been good enough. Mom and daddy are fighting because of me or whatever. You know what I mean? Kids do that for some odd reason. I had a doctor talk about that. And it's good to show them that acceptance, because acceptance starts at the home. You know what I mean? If you're showing them that no matter what, you still love them, they're still accepted by you at the home. They're not going to go and seek the acceptance in the arms of some young guy or some drug or a gang or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. And yeah, at the end of the day, it is all about love for the kids, and that's really all it comes down to, man. It's all they need. That's it. And they're really good about everything. They don't have any issues. And they're smart enough, and they're only 5 and 7, but they're smart enough to know what's right and what's wrong, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I just say, hey, you, as for their mom, you go live that life. It's that life you chose. This is what you want to go live that life,
Mhm.
So that's all I have to say about that, man, without getting too crazy
Yeah.
with it,
Yeah, absolutely. Ruben, looking back, do you feel like you would have done things differently at all, brother? Like, what would you have done differently?
What would I have done differently?
Hmm.
Honestly, I'm very happy and content with my life.
Hmm.
I lived a good life growing up. I had a fun childhood. Um, Raised great kids. The girl's mom, I mean, she's a great person. We're still best of friends now. My first wife, right?
Hmm.
We were together when I was 18 as a senior in high school, and she's just an awesome person. And I'm really happy with the relationship that we have now.
Hmm.
We get along so great. She's like my best friend now. And I don't regret anything, right? And as for my other wife, I just feel like God saw something that I didn't, right? So
Hmm.
to me, it's a blessing to have her out of my life,
Hmm.
and I'm good with it. And I live a great life. I have great kids. When I have my kids, I have my kids, and I have my cars, and I do that. And I go out and I have a good time.
Hmm.
I just live my life and enjoy it to the fullest.
Hmm.
So,
Speaking of cars, brother, how is that car coming around?
the 46 it's
Yeah.
laying low. It's sitting on the floor right now. It's all C-notched and bagged. So when I get back from storm, it's gonna look different when I get back. Believe that.
Oh, heck yeah,
Yeah, I'm
man.
gonna go take it to paint pretty soon. I'm gonna go midnight blue with it.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I'm gonna go midnight blue, and then I got to get a lot of chrome and stuff to throw on there. So yeah, it's gonna be it's beautiful right now, right?
Hmm.
Um, but when I'm done with it, it's gonna be pretty
Dialed in.
legit. Yeah, then time to move on to the next one.
Yeah, oh yeah. Dude, I've been looking at this guy on Instagram and he has a 65 Lincoln Continental. That
Nice.
thing is dirty.
Get it.
I
Pull,
know.
pull the trigger. Pull
I
the trigger.
know. I keep telling my buddy Brock, I'm like, man, if I get one of these, I'm gonna have to park it at your garage because he has a badass shop and stuff. And
And
it,
those Lincolns are long, dude. They won't
dude,
fit in your garage.
no.
Yeah, so the 46 is sitting in my garage right now, and then the next one that I want to go for is either a 62 or 63 convertible SS,
Oh.
which is more my style. So
Hmm.
my bomb is cool, and it's cool to cruise in. I mean, it'll move. I have a 350 in there with the 700R transmission, but yeah, the convertible, that's just always been my dream car from a kid.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And it's cool to like have those. Like my daughter, she's taking an interest in cars too, and she's always asking me, she's like, "Daddy, can we get an SS Malibu?" You know what I mean? That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's her dream car, so she wants to get one of those, and
Nice.
she wants to start working on it. And it's really cool to incorporate them in some of our hobbies and stuff. Like
It,
today, I told you earlier, we're skateboarding.
yes, I agree with you 100%. And I grew up with a lot of those cars. My dad, he still has a 55 Bel Air that's
Ooh.
completely restored, beautiful car. But just being a kid, we've had a 54 Bel Air, a 50 Fleet Line. We had a lot of different older cars growing up that my dad had. And I would be out there with him, handing them tools, just learning because I was curious. And
Hmm.
but it's a lot of time that we spent together that I always remember as growing up. So
Hmm.
that's another way that we really bonded a lot, is just working on cars and just a love for older cars, and just the smell of them. They
Yeah.
they're built right. I mean, they're fun to work on. I mean, it's just a great time, man. And then once it's complete, because the 55 that my dad has been in our family since the early 70s. So
Oh wow.
yeah, it's been around a long time, and it's a 100% restore. And he just cruises it, and that's what he spends most of his time on now.
Hmm. No, that's really cool, man. Ruben, I want to ask you one thing before we get off here, brother. What can you tell a young lineman, young apprentice who's coming up in the trade about change? What is one bit of truth that you could share with them about dealing with change? Because change happens a lot in this trade.
Just
You know.
accept it. Accept it. accept it and move on it. It shouldn't even be like a feeling of like, should I do this? Should I do that? Just okay and run with it. Just don't just open that door, because I say the door because I feel like it's a door to opportunity, right? Don't just open it or think about, should I open it or not? Run through that door. Go break that door open and just be the best that you could be as an individual. And whatever somebody else is doing, don't worry about that. You just do what you do and handle your business as you know you should.
Man, it's awesome that you said that, because that's going to be one of our podcast topics coming up, is not worrying about teaching our kids not to worry about what the other person's doing. Because I think too many people, and I'm sure you've seen it in our trade and in life and everything, everybody's worried about the other guy. And it's like, dude, mind your damn business. Don't worry about him. Worry about what you're doing.
Right. Absolutely. And I mean, we all want to be the best. We all want to be the fastest. But you can't sit there, so some guys just get all the easy stuff, and it's okay. Like whatever they give me, just let's go do it. Let's go handle it. Like it doesn't matter, it's what we do, and it's what we signed up for, and just go handle your business.
Man, I remember just I used to hate that, because you'd be busting your butt, and then all of a sudden they would let this guy who couldn't handle something, and you remember how that went, dude. They would be like, yeah, let him go do that,
It does happen, you as a GF, I understand though. You have your crews that could get these certain jobs done, and you have your other crews that you may not have that confidence in. So, I get it, because at the end of the day, you're trying to meet a goal. So, but yeah, it's nice to get a bone thrown at you every once in a while, though, right?
Oh yeah, we're gonna get off today. We're going on a 2-week Christmas break, right? Next thing you know, we're doing backyarders.
Yeah, that's right.
Man. Well, right on, Ruben. Thank you for coming on, brother. And you have fun up there, and be safe out there, man. I appreciate you coming on and sharing all this information with our audience. And if someone wants to ask you some questions or anything like that, brother, how can they reach you?
They can hit me up on my IG, Ruben Rodriguez 248, or just contact you, and then I can shoot them my number or whatever, and we could talk. Or I'm all about helping people out in the trade or whatever we got to do to make it better, because at the end of the day, one thing that I'm really trying to work on as a lineman now more is trying, just becoming a better teacher. Because as linemen, we get too caught up in trying to be the fastest, trying to do this, trying to do that, and I feel like a lot of our apprentices aren't getting the education that they should be getting, because we don't care. It's like, just give me this, give me this, give me this, and let's go, and a lot of them don't understand, or they're maybe a fifth step, but they're really a second or third step, So I think what hit it best was my last one, my buddy Rodney. He would be like, would you want, to be an apprentice on our crew, would you want him to train your kids? This is our future, right? I'd be like, no. And that really hit home for me. And then, that's one thing that I do got a lot of respect for the man for. He just helped me to slow down a little bit, and then just explain to these up and coming men, to help more understand what they're doing, instead of just being programmed like a robot and just doing it. So that's one thing that I'm working on as an individual. And any way I could help out, I'm going to do it.
Absolutely. And that's what we need in this trade. We need good fathers like you, yourself, good mentors, and good leaders, good journeymen, you know what I mean? To be able to carry on this trade and just try to help men be better as a whole,
That's true, man, because I mean, we all know what we could get away with, right? We're trained a certain way, but we all cut corners in our own ways, just being linemen. And if I have that apprentice up there with me, and I'm cutting all these corners that I know I can, that I understand why I can, but he doesn't, right? So he thinks that's the right way to do something. And he goes out and does that. Once he becomes a lineman, that's just his regular way he does stuff. And then being a lineman, he's going to start cutting corners from those corners. The next thing you know, that breaks down our industry, our, IBW members, our craftsmanship. because at the end of the day, there's only two things that you got as a man. And that, this goes out to my boy Rodney too, that he always like pounded into me too. You just have your word and your craftsmanship as a man. And I believe that. What could you do that another man can't do?
Heck yeah. No, I agree with that 100%, brother. Once again, Ruben, thank you and be safe out there, bro. I thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Really
Thanks
do.
for having me, man. No problem.
Absolutely, bro. Well, be safe and we'll be talking at you soon. Okay.
All right. Talk to you later, man. Have a good one.
You too, brother.